it is usually said, it is not what you leave for your children, it is what you leave in them that makes a difference. There is a study that says 70% of wealth disappears by the second generation. You know why? Because the first generation focuses, works hard, builds the wealth, but forgets to teach the children what it takes to continue to multiply the wealth and maintain and perpetuate the wealth. That is one. And wealth, as you and me are getting to know as we are building our own wealth and we are on the path of this journey, wealth is more emotional than numbers. I used to think it was numbers. It's not numbers. It's mindset and behaviors. There are people who have a lot of money but they feel poor in their spirit. There are people who have very little, they feel rich in their spirit. So wealth is not overly numbers. Numbers is important, but it's also the mindset around that. That's a good one, Edimo. You took me unaware with that one. But let me tell you, right? That's a good one. And I think it's important to talk about some of those things. Personally, I mean, I am very blessed and honored that I came through that man. He's my hero. Other than God in heaven, that is my own God. That is the person who gave me life. That is the person who taught me all the things I know in my life. That is the person who gave me most of the things I have. But here is the deal. When I talk about most of the things I have, the decision was very simple and easy for me because the way we were brought up, we were never made to feel any different. I'll give you a simple example. During third term holidays, which is summer holidays for those students who go to school in Cameroon, I leave school in CPC. We go down to Yaoundé for vacation, maximum 2 weeks. He sends me back to the farm along with a lot of my brothers and sisters. We spent 3 months on the farm. That's why when you greet me, my palms are so hard. This is not how I was born. I will work on the farm for 3 months, and then he will make sure the farm manager is putting everybody's name and a tick against your name every day you work. Now, when we're going back to school, he will look at the number of ticks you have and decide how much he's going to give you. And at every point in time, whenever you bring your shopping list to our dad to give money for shopping, he would always never give you more than 75% of that. I'll give you another example. I went to the University of Soa in Yaoundé. There is no single time in my interactions with my father that he ever gave me 100,000 francs at one time. He never did. But as a young man, I was frustrated. I was angry. But now as a grown man, I realized that is the greatest gift he gave me. Because he taught me, number one, to understand that any role you are assigned in life to do, any title you have, any position you are first of all a servant. You are not the master. Because he forced me and my siblings to understand that whatever glory we perceive might come to us is not ours. We are not the ones who created it. He is the one who created it. We could be children of any other person. So it's just divine grace, right? So the way that shaped my life is, number one, he gave me the most important thing. 3 of the most important things in my life. Number one, he gave me life. Number 2, he gave me a good name. And that good name is because of the life he lived. And number 3, he gave me grace. When our father died, we went to Santa. The president sent his representative, the Prime Minister of Cameroon, and a plethora of all the administrators you can think about, including ambassadors. And when they got to our farm to lay our dad to rest, nobody could believe that our dad had only a 3-bedroom farmhouse. Now, what that taught me, that's why when you hear me talk about purpose, I talk about legacy, is because that forced me to start thinking what these things really mean. To him, money had no value. Money was only a conduit for value to other human beings. He will come visit me here in Texas. We'll spend time at home. My friends will come and visit him. By the time they leave, like our African culture demands, they'll always leave a small envelope for Pa. He will take the money, hang on to it. The next time we're driving around, he will see somebody on the road begging, stop. He will open the envelope, take 150, $20 and start distributing. And let me tell you another example where I learned something, Edimo. For many years, we kept holding him down and saying, Daddy, you know what? Man, you are starting to get a little bit old and tired, right? We need to build you a house, a beautiful home. Because in our minds, that is something that is of value. And the guy never told us no, but he always said, you know what, why don't you guys send me the money, let me build a house. You understand? So after a few years, I realized, you know why this guy keeps insisting? Because we are trying to impose on him what we think is value in life. But this guy is sitting there, and every day he has 50 to 60 people coming to him with challenges on a daily basis. And he is telling himself, what do I need a mansion for? I need to help this mother go to the hospital. I need to help this kid go to university. I need to help this person get into economy. Why am I needing a home? And as I grow older, I start understanding the wisdom of those things. That is why, as you've been around me quite a bit, you realize a lot of things don't matter to me. Because the things that matter to you and me is how they will remember Edimo when he's no longer alive. And that is legacy. That is based on your purpose, pursuing it and building a lasting legacy. So that tomorrow your children will walk anywhere in Texas, in Cameroon, in Mexico, and somebody can put up their hand and say, I remember you. I remember this name. Your father did something. I don't know if it makes sense. Good. So when we think about this life, that's how we think about these things. That is how those times shaped who I am today. That is why I do what I do. Guys, if you're finding some value in this video, why don't you go ahead and click that like button? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that the effort I'm putting into all of this is valuable on your end and you are seeing some value in it. And why don't you go ahead too and share this with your loved ones, with everybody you know. You certainly want to make sure you bring them up to speed so that way you are not too far ahead of them in terms of your knowledge, experience, and what you can do to transform your life. And by all means, if you think and you believe very strongly that this video is providing you the value that can unlock your purpose, that can help you invest on the stock market, build wealth, and build a lasting legacy, then this is an opportunity to click the subscribe button. Join the community so that together we can continue to encourage each other, motivate each other, and push each other to the finish line. We are this close, and I believe it's possible for you. Let's go back to the video. You see, it is usually said, it is not what you leave for your children, it is what you leave in them that makes a difference. There is a study that says 70% of wealth disappears by the second generation. 70% of wealth disappears by the second generation. You know why? Because the first generation focuses, works hard, builds the wealth, but forgets to teach the children what it takes to continue to multiply the wealth and maintain and perpetuate the wealth. That is one. And wealth, as you and me are getting to know as we are building our own wealth and we are on the path of this journey, wealth is more emotional than numbers. People don't realize. I used to think it was numbers. It's not numbers. It's mindset and behaviors. There are people who have a lot of money, but they feel poor in their spirit. There are people who have very little, they feel rich in their spirit. So wealth is not overly numbers. Numbers is important, but it's also the mindset around that. During our last podcast, you talked about something and you referred to somebody. And this gentleman, anybody who is watching, you can always check him out on YouTube. He is called Seti Ramit. Ramit Seti. He talks about something, a concept called your rich life. You see, here's the challenge, and I say this in all honesty. We all are parents. There is no perfect way to do it. We all are struggling, but some of the things I have experienced and I see is instead going to set our children up for failure. The way we raise our children, and it's something, of course, once in a while I'll struggle with my wife because, you know, ladies, they want kids to have all the great things. But I've always been of the philosophy and the position, very simply, that we must raise our children to be able to live and thrive without us. So what that means is we must force them to always find it in themselves to generate from their own ingenuity, to generate from their own capability and their own capacity. There is a reason why the Bill Gates of the world, the Oracle of Omaha, they are talking about leaving less than 1% of their wealth to their children. That's a lot of money, but it's small percentage relative to what they have, right? Because they say they want to leave enough for their children to do what they feel is their purpose to do, but not too much to make them lazy. Because there is nothing more important than the fire in the human spirit, Edimo. If we can teach our children, number one, how to be God-fearing and love humanity. Number two, how to be people of integrity, honesty, and the willingness to give of their skills and their gift. And number three, how to be ambitious from their stomachs, from their deep spirit. Those are the things I believe we should be teaching our children. And sometimes for them to learn those lessons, we must create artificial deprivation. We must create artificial lack. We grew up in communities where lack was natural for most of us. But here, we have to create artificial lack so that way it generates fire. I remember a very powerful story you shared, Edimo, and if you permit me, I will share this story with everybody. You talked about something, and you might not have realized, but that story hit me. I listened. You talked about when you were having your baptism, and you were hoping that your mom would get you a new pair of shoes for your baptism. Your mom took your old pair of shoes, patched it together, and you were so frustrated, angry. She carried you, encouraged you, motivated you, prayed with you. You went to church and you had your baptism, and then you came back home. And the money she had, instead of getting you a new pair of shoes, she decided to get rice, Fanta, biscuit, so that you could celebrate your baptism with your friends in the neighborhood. Because she understood that the shoe is temporary. That relationship with people and serving people is everlasting. Hey guys, have you been wondering how you could chat with me one-on-one just to talk on your aspirations, your career, your business, and the things you might dream about with your life and you would really like to do with your life? I know it's been a challenge because a lot of people have been sending me inbox messages, asking me questions and asking me how they could get to me. That has been answered for you. I've created a one-on-one program where you can actually book a time. You look in the link in the description. You can book a time and have a one-on-one conversation with me for 30 minutes for a very small fee. If you look down in the description of this video, you will find that information and go ahead and book a time and let's have a conversation. Everybody watching us right now has different stories of their own life, right? The key thing, we are just encouraging people to use that story as a lesson and not as a verdict. To use that story as an understanding for the fact that it was preparation and not punishment. You see, we live in a time today when a lot of children judge their parents unfairly, I believe. Because they say, don't judge people's decisions until you knew the options they had. I don't know if that makes sense. So a lot of us children today, we've grown up, we've traveled to the world, some different part of the world, we're making some money. And now we feel like we have the audacity to start judging our parents. My father didn't do this. My mother didn't do this. Why did they send me to go stay with my uncle? Why did they do this? And listen, you are judging their decision. You don't understand the options they had at that time. And what I tell people is that, especially us immigrants, we try to overcompensate because subconsciously we've been made to believe in a lie by a Western culture that tells us that success, achievement, abundance in spirit is tied to things. So because we think it is tied to things, we think therefore that when we are giving our children things, it is reminding us of the fact that we no longer live in the lack we grew up with. But we don't realize that the lack we grew up in is what gave us the fire to work. It's what taught us discipline. It's what taught us honesty. It's what taught us hunger to want to be more, to want to be better. If our children are not hungry, they don't have no need to work hard. They don't have no need to aspire for dreams. They don't have no need to want to achieve their purpose in this life. So my brothers and my sisters listening to me, whatever difficulty you went through in your upbringing, I want you to completely switch that switch around. Change the narrative and perception in your mind. Don't buy the lie. It was not suffering, it was preparation. It was preparing you for this time. Most immigrants come to America, they work 16, 17 hours. Do you know how hard it is to work for 17 hours? You think it's a joke? When they feel sick, they go to work. They don't feel happy, they go to work. It takes a certain kind of hunger and desire. And if our children don't have any of that, it's going to be hard for them. But these are the things we're talking about. Pursuing your purpose. Finding it in your heart to do the hard things, Edimo. We are not going to build our continent, build ourselves as people, and sit on the table of respect by doing the easy things. We must do the hard things. This is a Friday afternoon. You and me are here talking. After this, we are going back to reading. And we have another program to do after this. Probably another 2-3 hours of work. Listen, we have to do the hard things. But when it's your purpose, when it's something you are called to do, it's no longer hard. Because you know that you are doing what you are born and called to do. It makes a difference. Thank you very much, all our viewers. You guys take care, and we'll see you next Friday.